All right, our phones are always on us, but what does proper phone etiquette look like these days? We're going to talk about what's appropriate and what's out of touch next. You're streaming CBS News. Voicemails are apparently out of touch, and you should typically text someone before you call them. I agree with that. Those are a couple of the latest phone call etiquette rules, according to a new article from the Washington Post. Experts say the unwritten phone do's and don'ts have changed quickly, and they can get confusing. So to break it all down, let's bring in Diane Gottsman. She is a national etiquette expert. Interesting.
Yes, very great.
All right, so let us dig into it. Diane, tell us more about some of today's top phone etiquette rules.
So the reason why voicemails are outdated is because everybody wants instant knowledge. So when you see that somebody is called, because you get an alert, rather than listening to the long, windy voicemail that we tend to listen to, we call immediately. However, they do serve some purpose. So we should never say never, except that we should text before we make that phone call. Meaning you can say, are you available for chat? Or is this a good time to talk? That way it gives that other person a heads up. And if not, you can arrange a better time.
But I tell you, if you call and you don't leave, say you're not texting and you don't leave a message, I'm not calling you back.
Yeah, because I assume it's not important.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to know who you are.
Right.
So.
But I also, the one I hate is when you get a phone call and they don't leave a voicemail, and then they text you after the phone call, hey, call me real quick. I just have one quick question. And my first thought is, well, then just text it to me.
Exactly. If it's quick,
just
you can
text me the
it.
question. So talk to us about the differences in phone etiquette. I don't like to point fingers at generational divides, but are there differences between the generations?
Well, the reality is Gen Zs were born into technology, so they're digital natives. But people adapt very quickly. And, technology makes it fairly simple for us, especially when we're using our cell phone. So to say, a certain age does not use this certain function, in the work world, we have to adapt. So, when we say don't leave a voicemail, and funny, you say, okay, if they don't leave a message, I'm not going to call them back. Well, we're anxious as people who are calling as well. So we can just leave a quick text, and you don't have to feel like you should answer every single phone call that comes in.
Oh, I don't.
If you, on that note, the person that's calling or texting, don't hammer call or text because they are busy. And that goes for parents who are calling their adult
read
kids.
my mind.
Friends, and certainly if it's a client, we're going to behave differently. So depending on who we're reaching out to is how we're going to communicate.
Okay.
I know it's my son, and he texts me something back like busy, and I know that it's not offensive. If one of my peers or a client texted me back busy, it would hurt my feelings.
Right.
So we have
It's a pet peeve with my parents. Like, they still treat the cell phone like it's a landline.
Right.
Like when they're calling me, they assume that I'm home. And then when I'm not home, because it's not a landline, they're like, like sort of offended that there are other things going on around me.
Man. Oh, man. So one of the things my two biggest pet peeves are I prefer text messages.
Yeah, me too.
I don't like, and I've noticed this is something that Gen Z does, when they text, it's instead of a paragraph explaining everything and putting all the details, it's sentence, 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 sentence. So you're basically like, get to the point. And then the one that drives me nuts is people using their cell phones like with the speaker function in the street or in the subway or in a restaurant. What?
I do not want to hear about what your girl did last night.
Exactly.
They're always
Why are
arguing.
people doing that?
So to your point about texting and sentences, they're efficient, and we should be efficient. We are not writing a novel, and we're not writing an email. So it's quick and to the point. But people should keep their volume down, meaning their tone of voice down, and avoid those loud rings like a dog
Those are
barking.
our parents.
Because those really cute.
Parents always pick the most obnoxious ring, too.
It's true. Meanwhile, my phone's permanently on silent.
About being courteous to the people around you. And so, we want to make sure that not everyone hears our conversation that we're having with a client or a friend or our doctor, with our ailments.
Right. Yep. Yikes. That would be TMI.
Love it.
Diane, thanks.
Diane Gottsman, thank you so much. This was really fun. Appreciate it.
Thank you.